Hey, Steve Zook here. Welcome back to Pokesue Channel and the Guitar Ladder System. Folks, this is one of the hardest things I've ever had to explain. But I want people to, if you understand the Guitar Ladder System, you'll probably order it. The difficult thing is I've kind of reinvented the art of guitar lessons and learning, and I really probably shouldn't say I reinvented it. I've kind of had my own twist on it, but the approach that I use, I don't know anybody else using it. And it has its roots, though, in people like Joe Pass, who I studied with when I was 22. I'm 62 now. I'll be 63 next month. But it has its roots in some of the ways that people like Joe Pass and Wes Montgomery learn. And let me just try to explain this the best that I can. And I'm going to stop playing so I can explain it. Sometimes I try to talk while I play. It's difficult, to be honest about it. Is that, I teach the subconscious mind. All the interesting things are in your unconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is extremely powerful. It runs the physiology of your body. Can you imagine what a computer or a machine would have to do to run the physiology of your body and all the chemicals and the organs? And it's an amazing thing. So what I've discovered, and I did this through a lot of teaching, is I used to, when I was younger, get into a half an hour rap about theory. I used to notice my students look like they're getting a migraine headache. A lot of the left brain is very slow, and a lot of analytical stuff, and this has to do this, and this chord has to do with this. And, you can't break music down into a cute little category. Great music comes from your subconscious mind. I'll even go further than that. Great music comes from the universe. It comes from God. It comes from our Creator and filters through us. It's opening. It's like, I think even Pat Martino said this. The goal and what you want to do is open the portal of your own being to allow this music to come through so you can hear it and find it and play it and compose. And with the guitar ladder is way beyond just, there's a lot of great players out there, but very few people that can compose. And that's the true test of a real artist. And this is not something you have to be nervous about. The guitar ladder system will wake up the composer within as well as the player within. But what I do is I teach the subconscious mind. That's why sometimes when I send samples, like I recently sent some samples and somebody said, well, isn't there anything more than these videos and these charts? And my response was something to the effect of, well, through a lot of trial and error, I've discovered that if I bog down the mind with too much stuff, it cannot assimilate it well. The power of the guitar ladder system is in this simplistic approach and the well thought out studies that I've got 40 years of hard work into. And, analyzing them. And here's the problem. When you start to analyze something, you have to put it into one cute little category. Music doesn't fit into one great, cute little category. Most great music is a combination of different approaches, whether you want to call it modal or diatonic or symmetry or intervallic or chromatic or Phrygian or whatever you want to call it. All that's really just a bunch of bullshit. It's like Miles Davis said, learn as much as you can about music, forget all the shit and just play. It's really true. So with my guitar ladder system, like if I've recently sent you samples, like maybe I sent you the sample of study one, okay? I mean, I do have videos that explain a little bit about it, but the bottom line, folks, is you learn by playing these studies, okay? And then your own subconscious mind starts to make those connections, like 13 connects 13, 13 connects 13, and what happens is because my studies, the chordal stuff especially, I do have some very cool single note stuff, but because the chordal stuff is very musical, it uses smooth voice leading, contrary motion, all those different tools, and because we don't bog down your mind with a bunch of stuff that will kind of take over your mind. Like if I were to bog you down with a bunch of busy work, I think that's really what it is. I've trimmed the fat off of learning guitar. I've gotten rid of the bullshit. I've trimmed the fat. I've gotten rid of the busy work. I only give you what you need. I only give you what I know will work and which will actually produce a quantum leap. And folks, I am not kidding. I've seen guitar students have supernatural progress in 6 months or a year time that was off the charts. I'm not making this shit up. I've said it before, they motivated me to put all the hard work to put this together. But I've seen people that have just had off the charts. And like I said, it's like when I studied with Joe Pass, he would say things like, simplify your thinking. When I think of this chord, I automatically hear these other 4 or 5 chords where it can go. Every chord has a direction. Every chord has a color. Every chord has many directions. Every chord has many different possibilities of what it can do. And when you combine that together, you begin to learn the sentences, the language of music. So what I'm trying to say here is some people are overthinking the guitar ladder system. And maybe when I send them samples, they're like, well, how come you don't have, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4? Because it's all a bunch of bullshit. That's why. I know I'm being a little blunt today, but I don't know how else to put this, folks. I've got something really special here. I've really done my homework. I've been teaching since I was 18. I'm going to be 63 last night. I'll be 63 next month. And I've discovered what works and what doesn't work. And what works is learning how to put chords together in a musical way. And by doing that, it kind of like sprinkles seeds into your subconscious mind that sprout. I don't know how else. It's very difficult to explain this, but the process works. I've had students, actually it was my students that told me, yeah, if you want a quantum leap, study with Steve. And they were the one that came up with that term. So what I'm trying to say is that, I could put my stuff into a left brain format and make it all cutesy wootsy, but the reason that it works is because it is outside of the box, folks. It's outside of the square, okay? It is completely, and I'm a very deep thinker, and I've been playing a long time. I'm a real composer. Excuse me for bragging, but if you go to vintageguitar.com, put in Steve Zook, Mr. Steven Stone, who's a very well-respected writer, guitar collector, musician, engineer, said he called me a prodigious composer and player. I'm the real deal, folks. But the thing is, I'm into this. Really, this is more of a passion to me. I've over the years of teaching, I've always wanted my students to get more out of the money that they spend and the time that I spend. And it got to a point with me where I got kind of frustrated when I was much younger. And that was kind of the genesis of this. And the genesis of the guitar ladder system was really when I studied with Joe Pass at about 22, and then started listening to a lot of Joe Pass and Wes Montgomery and blah, 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 blah. I started writing down my studies at around, 18, 19, 20. But again, my main point I'm trying to make in this video today is that, if you request some samples of the guitar ladder system and you see the videos and a couple charts, don't expect to have a bunch of busy work, a bunch of bullshit, a bunch of left brain stuff. It doesn't work. The left brain is very slow. The right brain, the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, like when you have a dream, if you ever had those dreams where you have all these different things that happen in the dream. You go here and you go here and you go there and you meet this person and this happens and you were in this situation, you had to get out, whatever. All those different sequences of events seems like something that could take you an hour to do. Did you know your brain does that whole thing in something like, I don't know the exact number, but it's crazy. It's something like, 50th of a second or something. I mean, our body is a walking miracle. Our brain is a miracle. Our subconscious mind is so powerful. It runs the whole physiology of our body. Our subconscious mind doesn't need step 1, step 2, step 3 to know what it's doing. It already is an extremely sophisticated tool that's running our body. So when I present this information to the subconscious mind in terms of these very, very musical studies, let me get a little closer here. When I present these studies to your subconscious mind, like cycle 1, okay, and you watch the video. Now you go back through, you add the shading. When you're not even playing, your subconscious mind's going to be piecing this together. If you understand this approach and you trust it, you'll have huge, huge growth. But honestly, folks, it's like studying martial arts. Like some instructors will say, when you walk into the dojo, you leave your ego on the back burner. It's the same thing here. If you're gonna get involved in my guitar ladder system, leave your ego on the back burner. Leave your thinking mind on the back burner. Don't judge. Don't criticize. Don't be negative. You got to be positive. I've really got something special here, folks. When I'm dead and gone, people are going to be looking at this saying, "Holy shit! I wish I would have got involved." I've had people with master's degree by my course. I'm not making this up. I've had people with master's degrees in music by my course because they said they never learned how to improvise. You can't learn to be a great artist. You can't wake up the musical mind. Art is more subtle, and you can't do it with a left brain boring approach like step 1 through 50 because you just bought a piece of furniture from IKEA. It's not like that. So what I'm trying to explain here, folks, is that I think outside the box. I've proven my system. It works. So you just need to trust it, as corny as that sounds, and understand that your subconscious mind is going to piece together the pieces, because you're learning all these musical sentences. And there's like 240 studies, including the secret Horace Hatchet files. The courses, I spoon feed you one or two at a time, because that way you'll absorb it better. I've got the secret Horace Hatchet files. It's $2.99 for the whole course. We do a little at a time. I got a grant from a guy. I have a few left I can do for $1.99, but that's the point I'm trying to make. And this is difficult to explain. But the bottom line is, great players like Joe Pass used to sit around and just keep thinking of new ways to put chords together. Because when you do that, you're giving your subconscious mind information in a way that it can assimilate it, and then it can start to kind of grow. It's like you're planting seeds in your subconscious mind that grow. And like I said, most people have probably had the bad experience at one point in their life of taking from like a great player who was on an ego trip, who just sat there and talked his ass off for 30, 40 minutes and got into a bunch of heavy theory because they got on an ego trip to blow your mind. It doesn't work. There's a huge difference between great players and great teachers. There's very few great teachers out there. There are some, but it takes a lot of hard work. And I'm just going to say this, and I apologize if I hurt anybody's feelings, that most guitar teachers are very, very lazy. They haven't put in the time. It's kind of easy money to them. They work as little as possible. Sure, there are some great teachers out there. I know that. I acknowledge you guys. But I'm just saying most people haven't taken the time to really come up with a system. And if they do have a system, it's not very innovative. I've really got something special here, folks. If you want to get to know, if you want to begin to hear the musical ideas in your subconscious mind, find them on the guitar, wake up the artist within, wake up your musical ear, invest the $1.99. You can order it at stevesguitars.com. This really works. It really works, folks. And I give God or the universe most of the credit for doing it, but I have worked really, really, really hard. But I put in the time. I put in the time that it takes. Worked really, really hard in the system. So the power of the guitar ladder system is in the simplicity, and that I found a way to seed the subconscious mind with beautiful musical ideas that grow and begin to hook each other together. And that way your subconscious mind begins to combine all these different approaches like symmetry, intervallic, diatonic, chromatic, modal, whatever you want to call it, pieces all that together. And great music doesn't really fit into a cute category. It's usually a combination of elements, okay? So that's all I want to say. Again, this is difficult to explain, but if you want samples, send me an email, pokesue@gmail.com. Request a couple samples, and feel free to call me, 714-548-0385. I'm not going to try to slam dunk you or pressure you or anything like that, but I love to explain more about it. It seems like on the phone I can explain it better, and then people can tell me about their playing a little bit, and I can kind of help them understand the missing pieces. Most people have a lot of missing pieces in their guitar. You need to set some goals, but most people don't have the pieces they need. They don't have the foundation they need to allow the subconscious mind to create and begin to discover your unique musical ideas, which obviously will reflect people that you like. Like I know my playing reflects artists that I like. A lot of times people hear me play, even when I go to buy a guitar, it sounds like Joe Pass, or depending on what I'm doing. But the guitar ladder system is what you're looking for in a very innovative, organic, simple to use guitar instruction system that is light years ahead of anything out there. It's the truth. I've looked at everything. If you really want great results and you want thousands of dollars of instructional material that works to wake up your musical mind, go to stevesguitars.com and order the system. It works. Thanks, folks. Take care.